Welcome back to our DNA. I'm Brandon Duplessis. We have Philip Price and, of course, always David Medina. How you guys doing?
All right.
Great.
Good.
Happy to be here.
Man, episode 13. I
Yeah.
was thinking when I was coming here, you know, this is just the beginning, but so many people get stuck when they realize how hard this is. And that feeling of it's not going anywhere, or I don't know what I'm doing, or all those other thoughts that come into our heads as we progress, and how many people stop doing something or just don't keep going because of those thoughts, right? So I give us, a thumbs up, clap for continuing, right? And
Yeah. I
to get
mean,
to 100.
there's always something to talk about. There's a lot of things going on in the world right now.
It's
You
true.
know?
True. I enjoy these. What can I say?
Hey man, I look forward to it every week.
Oh, yeah.
There's always something to talk about, and the ideas we get to sit and talk together anyways and spend this time and just connect. And I appreciate that. So
There's a
how are
lot
you
of
guys doing?
doing great, man. Busy,
Good.
busy. We're selling cars and having fun.
Hey,
We've
David.
just been in there.
That's good to hear. Yeah, I've been, I'm doing better today. I've had some weird weeks. I'm not gonna lie, just a spell of bad luck. But I'm trying to twist that mentality back to having some good vibes. I got rear-ended this week or last week
Oh
technically,
wow.
and then this morning I found that somebody stole my credit card and ran it up $2,000. But it's all right. I got it handled with the Wells Fargo, so hopefully that just
Yeah, because they'll
disappears.
take care of it if it's fraud.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. It was definitely fraud. Good thing I caught it when I did.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, because I
You
do not
got to
That's
spend
be
crazy.
careful,
$1,000 at a
man.
yoga place. That's for sure.
Spent $2,000 at a yoga place.
At a Aloe, I think that's like a retail store or something. I don't even know. I
Right.
looked it up. In Glendale, of all places.
Wow. That
Yeah.
sounds like a place that you might get someone get your stuff and take advantage of it.
I remember one time when we had McCaney Price used car lot. We come in the next morning, and I had put gas in the car the night before using the company debit card.
Mhm.
Bank of America called us and said, "Did you guys spend $60,000 last night at Walmart and all these different places?" And hell no, we ain't spent no 60,000 at Walmart. They bought
Wow.
TVs, they bought.
Oh, no.
And what happened was at the gas station, there was a skimmer on it. It was, what do you call it? Skimmer, yeah, where they
Yeah.
get
Oh,
all your credit card information and make a card and go charge the shit out of it.
that's insane. I've only heard about that on
60K,
like
man.
Instagram.
Dang, 60,000. That's crazy. It was with Wells Fargo, and I had it was $700 someone spent at Target once. And they called me right away and said, "Did you spend $700?" Just like you said, Philip, except mine was 700, not 60,000. And I was like, "Nope, I don't live up in San Francisco, and I definitely didn't spend $700 at Target." And at that
Yeah.
time, $700 at Target seemed like a lot of money. Now I could go there easily and spend $700. But yeah, back then I was like, "Nope, wasn't me." Although a scarier moment for me once was I woke up one morning and I looked at my bank account and I had $0. Like I'd probably had maybe 10 to 20 grand in the account on that time. But I woke up and I had zero. I had nothing. And I called Wells Fargo and I was like, what happened? What's going on? And they got a letter from the IRS telling them to freeze my accounts.
That's what I deal with
And I
all the
was
time at
like,
work.
yeah. And they're like, hey, if the IRS tells us to do something, we do it.
You
We
have
can't
to
mess
do it.
around.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa, what's going on though? And at this time, I didn't have any trouble with the IRS. So I didn't know
Yeah.
what was going on. And thank God I had this guy, his name was Brad Emerson. He's retired. He was my tax guy at the time. I miss him. I wish I still had him. But he had connections and he knew what to do. So thank God he found out that someone at the Social Security or IRS had typed in one digit wrong on a Social Security number.
No.
Oh,
And
wow.
that one digit was my Social Security number.
Wow.
So it was a mistake. It wasn't supposed to happen. But for that 24 hours, I was like, I didn't know what to do. It's like you're helpless and everything's gone.
I've been traumatized.
Yeah. Unless you had some money on you or some type of way to, if you keep all your money in the bank, something like that happens, you're done. It was rough. 2 days later, I got my money back.
Oh, fantastic. That's a good ending. I was in New York and I went to a club in New York and I get back to Red Bluff. This is when I had Red Bluff Ford. And my controller, her name was Darlene, says, Bill, you got a new girlfriend in New York? New girlfriend in New York? What are you talking about? You spent $65,000 at a woman's store. I go, I ain't spent no $65,000 at no woman's store.
Wow.
And it was the waitress that waited on me, took a copy of my Black American Express card.
Yeah.
And she went to a store where they knew her. And she spent $65,000. Her mom had to make good of it because American Express was going to press criminal charges. And her mom had to mortgage a house to pay the 65 grand off.
Wow.
Yeah, because they were going to go straight after. Because I mean, the guy knew her at the clothing store. It was a women's clothing store, and he says, "Oh, so and so." We asked her how did she get the card. And she made a copy of my the credit slip with the card number and everything on it.
Yeah, all she needs is the numbers, the expiration date, and the digits. She got it all, so they don't have to actually run a card, right? They can just type it in.
I tell you, man, they get a hold of it. There's so many ways they can get a hold of your stuff now. It's scary, man. They can bump into you and get, if you got cards in your phone or whatever, they can steal all the information off your phone. If they bump, they got, I mean, the internet and all this modern stuff is wonderful, but the scammers are having a field day, man.
Yeah. Well, that's part of the thing too. Like when people know you make money, or like, they've talked about the fires and people's houses that got, ransacked type of thing. And there's a lot of talk on the internet and people that are like, oh, well, they're rich. It doesn't matter. Or like, oh, they deserve, whatever their mindset is, where it's like not viewed the same. Because I think Dave Chappelle made a funny joke on SNL when he's like, and that's when I realized I don't like poor people or something like that. He said something real funny because it was all these people talking about how the rich deserve it. They don't care. It doesn't matter. It was pretty funny. But with that being said, it's like when people know when you're flashing, say, a black card and you're just trying to pay for dinner, right? You're just trying to on the company dime like it should be. But someone's going to take advantage of that because they see, oh, you got the black card. This is someone I could take advantage of, right? Or I was talking to my uncle. So my uncle was telling me how he rented like a Lincoln SUV for when he was in Hawaii. And when he went into his shop and came back out, the Lincoln had gotten broken into. And like nothing was stolen because it was just a rental. They didn't have anything in there. But the rental company took care of it. I guess the tourism like group made sure to take care of it too because they don't want tourists to be scared. So they like took care of it, insurance, all the above. But my uncle was like, I started renting minivans after that. Like he's like, because he doesn't want to be a target. Like he doesn't want to go on vacation and be a target because he's driving a nice car, right? And it sucks that you sometimes do become a target if you're enjoying things in life, unfortunately.
Well, one of the things I can tell you when you are perceived to be rich, people, they come at you, man, for the most idiotic things, man. I was so tired of my attorney saying the nuisance value. And what nuisance value? Well, that's where you got to look at it. If, you settle with this person for $2,000, it's cheaper than you going to court with them. And they get free money. How does that work? But it's the way the system is set up. If you accuse somebody of something, it's, if somebody accused you, Brandon, you got to prove you didn't do it.
No matter what. right? It's like it could be something completely false and it doesn't matter because it was said. Some people might believe it's true, and you got to prove yourself innocent,
Mm-hmm.
right?
That's the way the
That's
law reads. Yeah, I had a kid that owed me some money on some equipment, and I went down to try to collect it. We got a little huffy with each other, but no blows, no nothing. Next thing I know, about 3 days later, the DA from Red Bluff says, I'm being sued for assault and battery. And I go, assault and battery.
Hmm.
And it was this kid. He left right after we had the argument, went to the hospital, said he was hit. And I go, he's a white kid. There was no marks, no nothing. I mean, because he was a short guy. And I said, there's no bruises, no nothing. But I had to I
wow.
had to give him the equipment and write him a check for $2,500 to make it go away.
Wow.
So you lost the
Lost the
equipment,
equipment that was
which
worth
was expensive,
3 grand, 3 to 4 grand, and I wrote him a check
pay
for
him for it
2,500 to make it go away. I had to give him a check to go make it go away.
just to make it go away. Because
That's
it's true,
upsetting.
the time and energy that you're going to take, like even in small scenarios. Like I had somebody once, I got a traffic ticket or a speeding ticket when I was like certain I didn't deserve it. Like in every way, like this ticket I got, I didn't deserve. And somebody said, "Oh, just go fight it." And I was like, "You're right, I'm going to." Whoever told me that must have never fought a ticket before. because,
You got to
because
give up time, money.
yeah,
Because if you go in there by yourself without at least somebody that's a lawyer that's got a little bit of knowledge, you ain't got no shot.
yeah. And the first thing is you got to sit there for hours hoping your case gets called up. So you're sitting in court and you're listening to cases you don't want to listen to. You're hearing
Yeah, because
like
they're all
show.
stupid. You're like,
Oh man, and some things are just wrong. You know, you hear things that happen with families and kids, and like just stuff you don't want to be hearing either. It's like just real depressing. And then
Mm-hmm.
and you hear people be idiot. I can see why they make TV shows about this stuff because people really do say some crazy stuff. But then if you don't get called before lunch, you got to wait another 2 hours and then hope you get called again. And then by this time, when you go up there, they just ask you, are you guilty or not guilty? And say not guilty. Okay, well then go pay your fine and then we'll set another court date. And then if you win, we'll give you your money back. And I was like, what? I was like,
so
like
I'm going to pay you in the event I am guilty, even though I'm pleading not guilty. Oh, man, that's
right.
wrong. That's
I was
wrong.
like, so I was like, you know what? I didn't even go to the line to pay the thing or anything. I just left. I went online. I paid my ticket, and I wasn't. It wasn't even worth it. Wasn't even worth it.
See, the one thing good about living in Vegas, you can pay, like, if you don't want the ticket, like a speeding ticket to go against your record, they'll charge you an extra $75 and it goes away.
Yeah. Go and you go to. Well, we have to go to driver's ed school or something
We
like
don't have
that.
to do any of that. You can just, Vegas is about the money. You
They don't
pay
care.
us the money, it goes away. They'll
That's
say
smart
your
because
fine is $125. But if you don't want this to go against your DMV record, the total charge would be $179.95 or something. And I've done it on many occasions because I didn't want the tickets because that'll cost you more than
yeah,
$50 if you
yeah,
get a
your
speeding ticket.
insurance, your insurance will
will go up.
start going up.
And they know that. So that's an extra revenue base for them. Think about that.
Smart.
Smart.
Yeah, at least they're honest and they
Yeah.
don't make you pretend to do a traffic school.
No, you don't even do. You just pay us the money, and it goes away.
Yeah,
And that's the
fair.
one thing I got to tell you guys. When I own businesses, I always donated to the president and the governor.
Mm-hmm.
Always donation, because what that gives you is access. They give you access. You get a card, who to call if you ever need a favor, and blah blah blah. And it works for me.
Now, what kind of levels of donations are we talking about here? Because if I donate $100,
No, you ain't getting that.
I don't think I'm getting a card.
They won't even send you a card. They won't even acknowledge it. You got to make like a $10,000 or $20,000 donation,
Okay,
but it
fair
gives
enough.
you access to people prime example, my ex-son-in-law had felonies on his record, so he couldn't get a sales license. I made a $10,000 donation to Arnold Schwarzenegger and a guy named John Kober, who was the liaison to the governor. He has the ear of the governor, so he can get. So I says, well, my son-in-law can't get a sales license in California. And John says, well, give me all this information and I'll call you back in 2 weeks. 2 weeks come, he says, Phil, the license is in the mail. Yeah.
You're good to go.
Good.
Wow.
That's good to know. When I'm there,
I thought this was like a monthly subscription type of thing. So I guess that makes more sense.
Have you seen the $11.99 foundation on license plates?
That's a get out of
jail card too. You make a $5,000 donation.
Yep.
You get a gold badge.
That's right.
And they tell you put your license here, but they say it won't get you out of tickets. But you put your license right next to the gold badge. You show it, and I can't tell you how many times they say, okay, Mr. Price, slow it down. They'd write a little note, and that's the end of it. And you see all the Ferraris and Porsches have the $11.99 foundation because that's a free get out of jail. Now, the only time it didn't work, I was doing 145 in my SL 55.
Damn.
Phil, if you were at 110, 115, I'd let you go. 145. He said,
where were you doing 145 at? Were you on the?
It was when on the 5, coming from LA, going back to San Francisco in the Bay Area.
That makes sense. Just a whole stretch of nothing.
There's a strip. The cops know it too. When I got my ticket for 145, he said, Phil, you better be thankful. It used to be 130 in this thing, but they were towing cars too much, and these all people that didn't appreciate it. So they raised it to 145, but that ticket cost me $1,500.
Damn.
And
that kept you out of jail. Yeah, that's pretty bad. 145 is no joke.
The car, and then you'd have to pay storage and all the rest of that stuff.
Because
they used to just come and get your car and take it to the impound.
I've had that happen too.
I don't think my car can even hit 145.
Well, I had a West Coast 55 Junior. It was fast, man. That car was.
It starts shaking.
Yeah.
Well, that's it's good to have a balance in life, because I think I know what it's like to drive a car with no power steering.
I've been there.
You try to parallel park, you're like this with the steering wheel, just building muscle, only going 60, 55 miles up a hill because I can't go any faster, leaning forward, trying to.
I didn't have no money as a young man, and I got in trouble in a Volkswagen. So, if I'd had money and had a fast car, I would not been here. I got in trouble in a Volkswagen, man. An 80 horsepower Volkswagen. Ask me how I did that. I was wild as a kid, man.
Volkswagens are good cars, though.
They're great cars, but I got speeding tickets and all kind of stuff.
Yeah. I was too. Man, the first ticket I got, which is I think probably the one I wanted to fight, I didn't get pulled over like you would hope to, sirens, and, the whole pull over thing. No, there was a motorcycle cop standing in the street on Balboa in the valley, not even a gun. He was just hanging out, probably eating a donut. But he literally stepped out in the middle of the street, put his hand out, and just pointed over. And I was like, I just thought.
Oh, are you serious? I ain't never seen anybody do that one.
Yeah, and I'm going like 40, 45, whatever the speed limit is, and I'm driving side by side with other cars. So I'm thinking like, oh, something must be going on. Nope, he was pulling me over. It was like, oh, you were speeding. And I was like, what do you mean I was speeding? I was going at the same pace as this minivan next to me. I was like, you didn't pull anyone else over. He's like, nope, you were speeding. And I was too young to even have an idea of how to combat this or even talk about it. But I was not speeding, for the record. I still paid the ticket. But yeah, he just stopped me, pulled me. I was so
wow.
I was like, I could have just kept driving. I could have just probably just.
That's the new one. I ain't never seen that one.
Yeah.
How
do you even combat something like that without starting something?
I don't know. I don't know. I didn't get out of it, and I was driving my buddy's car too. Even worse. Yeah, it was all bad. It was all bad. I got too many funny car stories.
So where are we going in America? What's the future going to look like? Can you guys tell me? I mean, I'm on the final quarter, so I'm not. But I'm trying to think what this might look 30 years from now.
Drones.
That was a work phone. I got
Got you.
to the dealership, so
Got you.
somebody has
Go
to
ahead, David.
respond. Mm-hmm. So yeah.
What do you mean? Do you mean technology? Do you mean the government? What's going on
Government.
there?
I'm thinking government. What is
Okay.
it? If Trump is able to do what he's trying to do, are we going to become
It feels like Elon Musk is our president at this point. It doesn't even feel like Trump's doing anything.
Yeah,
how
it
I
is
see it.
Elon Musk.
It's fair.
Yeah, it doesn't seem. And I have a theory about this. If I'm crazy, you
Let's
guys can
hear
tell
it.
me. But
I would
this is
love to
a
hear it.
strange theory, but I see it. So this whole everybody's trying to do the whole immigration thing. I mean, I'm Mexican. I grew up in a family that is legal and stays here, but I had people in my life, and I grew up in a not so good neighborhood. So a lot of them were illegal immigrants, and a lot of them were still people that I cared about because they're human beings.
Absolutely.
But whatever your perspective on that, whatever. But one thing I've noticed is that they're trying to get rid of as many as possible. I've heard stories that the jails and prisons are making money off of this, like profiting off of this. But also, Elon Musk is switching over Teslas and his own like new robot toys, and they're going to be part of our community. Like we already have in San Francisco those robot cars. They're going to start making Tesla versions of that, and they're going to start doing that here in LA. And on top of that, he's got real robots that are humanoid type of robots already a thing. That's going to be our next workforce, and it's going to suck. And I think that's why he's trying to get rid of all these people, so that way he can start implementing this slowly. And then now we have the society of robots that we're going to be like WALL-E, if you've ever seen that Disney movie.
If you ever heard him speak, he said when he spoke once before, we got to come up with a way to pay people because robots are going to do all the work. He said that was out of his own mouth.
Yeah. So that's how I see it.
They're already doing that, building cars. Robots do most of the work. The old way was, humans did it. So what is our society going to look like? Are people going to just stay home, get fat, and lazy?
That's what.
I mean, COVID was already part of it.
Well, like David said, the movie WALL-E, if you see it, which, that's maybe you have grandkids, maybe you saw it, but the whole basis of that movie is that people go so long in time with robots doing everything for them to where they literally just sit in these chairs that float around and move them around wherever they want to go. And they're just all chubby. Like they can't even feel bones.
Can you imagine what our society, we already one of the heaviest nations. I mean, you go to France and other places, man, you don't see heavy people. I mean, they're all thin, and you see occasionally heavy person, but the majority of the people when I was in Italy and stuff, in France, and even in Portugal, and I mean, they're more streamlined, and you know what I mean? They're in good shape.
Yep.
Yeah.
But it's their diet too, though. They don't eat a lot of the stuff, processed foods. We're the unhealthiest nation to be. I mean, we're 46 in longevity of life. 46. There's 46 at 45 other places. People live a lot longer than they do in America. And it's
now, mind you, though, I have seen that number isn't as bad as we think. Meaning, like the average age is like 81 at the highest one, and we're at like 76 or something. So it's true. We are 46. But when I saw how like compared we were to the other countries right above us, they had like 6 months or a year on us or something. It wasn't like a 20-year gap, but yeah, there was like a 5-year gap between like number one and us type of thing. But it's true. We are, without a doubt, I'm part of the problem. I'm looking at my weight every day, eating more than I can. And David, I don't think you're crazy with your
no, I think you're right. I think he's more right on than maybe any of us, because I think Elon wants to get rid of all these government workers. So now he can put all his robots in there.
His robots.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And guess who's going to get paid for those robots?
He is. He's the only one. Yep.
I'm sure Trump might get slid a few too
Oh well,
for
yeah.
as a
Trump will be
donation.
making money.
He might get that donation.
It ain't going to be a donation. You're going to get paid.
Yeah, you gonna get paid.
Yeah.
That's right.
They're going to
And
steal
you know,
millions and billions and trillions of dollars.
hey, well, I don't know how true this is, but I sit next to this gentleman and he's on it every day. He's hitting me with new facts. He's also on social media and he's following all this stuff. I'm off social media. I haven't been on years, but apparently, and again, this has to be fact checked, but apparently, like as Elon Musk is going through our books and our like our money, he's finding billions and billions of dollars to trillions of dollars that are like wasted or just $100 billion sent to people without a name type of thing. Like he's just finding money that's being wasted
Well,
and
there's
money
one
sent
big one.
overseas. Go for it.
United Healthcare
Mhm.
has built for Medicare. They know it. The Congress knows it. The Senate knows it. $5 billion overcharge Medicare. They were going after it, and then all of a sudden they poo-pooed that idea. So we all know government is crooked. You go in there, you have a net worth of this. Obama went in there, they said his net worth was $5 million when he went in there. He came out after his 8 years. He bought a house in Washington, D.C., paid cash for $8 million. And then he bought a house on Nantucket for $22 million. Now, I didn't go to Harvard or Yale. How do you take $4 million and turn it into $30 million to pay? And you know that was his last dollar.
And you know how expensive it is to keep up $30 million worth of homes just on bills, let
Well,
alone
it's
pay
simple
for
as
the
that.
house.
You know, when I built my big house in Red Bluff, I put everything on paper, but you know what I didn't put on there? What it was
The
going to cost to
bills,
maintain it.
Yeah.
water, electricity,
Oh,
all
everything
that shit.
is
Garbage.
quadruple. The
Oh,
electric bill on a 7,500 square foot house was $3,000 a month.
I believe that.
The water bill, because we had 3 acres, we had a pool, we had palm trees, we had all this stuff.
Oof, oof,
Oh,
oof.
it was money. The
Yes.
overhead just to maintain it per month was $6,500 a month.
Mm,
The
the
guy that
garbage.
bought my house paid cash for it. He says, Phil, why didn't you tell me? His name is John. Why didn't you tell me this house cost $6,500 to maintain? The gardener, because you got all this landscaping, it's $2,000 a month.
That's crazy. I remember
Did you
I
hear
I
50
rented.
Cent when he gave that house away for $1 million something that he paid like $7 million? He said it was costing him 50,000. It was 50,000 square foot
Wow.
house. He said it was costing him $50,000 a month. He says
It's
he
too
lives
much.
in a small condo now. He said, I don't never want to even see a house
I'm
that size
good.
again. He
I'm
says,
good.
you will never see me buying a house that size again. He
Like
sold it
even
to his
right
wife.
now in my house I'm in, I don't feel like I need all this space. Like I love my house, it's beautiful, but I used to have a 2 bedroom apartment with my whole family in it. And we had an open kitchen and a living room, and we spent 90% of our time there, and then we went to sleep, and I was good. Now I got plenty of rooms and plenty of space, but it's like we still congregate in the same little space. We still are 90% time in the living room and the kitchen. Like I'm already
It
wanting to
was
downsize.
such, my kids really hurt my feelings. We were all, my wife, the kids, my grandkids, and all of us, one Christmas was at my oldest son's house. And they said, Dad, can we tell you something? I go, yeah, sure. We didn't like that big house. I go, what? They
Really?
said, we never liked it because we had friends that would want to be friends with us, not because they liked us, because they wanted to see what the house looked like.
That's true. That makes, and I'm not complaining. I'm thankful. I'm
Yeah.
blessed. I'm very happy. So, anyone watching this, I'm thankful. But
Yeah, but I mean,
every
really,
every
all that
blessing
stuff
has
is
its
going to
burdens
kill.
too.
I mean, these guys want more money, but they're billionaires. They could never spend all the money they made already anyway.
They can make a great donation to our DNA. So
They ain't
I like
making
that.
it.
Donate down below. That's the link.
Noah, add that donation link up
Yeah.
there. We'll be
Well,
there one day.
that's what Warren
Send
Buffett
it to
and
my Zelle.
Gates are going to do. They donate all their wealth. They're leaving a little bit for their family, but the rest of it's going to charities they've already designated. That they're
Oh,
going
well,
to
that's
do.
good at least.
Yeah, that's where
Billions
it's
of
at.
dollars. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
money is a wonderful tool as long as you don't let money run you.
Mm-hmm.
You have to run money. Money can't run you. And what is that saying in the Bible? It's easier for a poor man to get to heaven than a rich man to get to heaven, because it's like, the eye of a needle for a rich man to get there, because you got to be greedy, man, to make billions. You got to be on a whole nother level. You and I
True.
and David, we're never going to get there because we don't, that ain't the only thing we think about. You know what I mean?
That's true. And I have to find joy in that too. For like, I really like watching and following Gary Vee. I haven't followed him in a long time, but he's he's a very successful man. He's very well known now. He's made it to the top of the top. But he's like, that's not what it's all about. Like, you can be happy working your 9 to 5, making 80 grand a year and having your kids and coaching Johnny on the weekends, and like,
Mm-hmm.
he knows billionaires and millionaires that are extremely depressed and unhappy, and a buddy that making 50K and is happy with his life. So yeah, it's sometimes I'm okay and thankful that I'm not as focused on being a billionaire as maybe some other people are, because it, like, every blessing has its burden, and I'm happy to, one thing that I've always heard people say, especially wealthy people that pass, is that they wish they would have spent more time with their family, so and they
None of
have
them
all the
ever
money in the
say, I
world.
wish I'd have made more money.
Doesn't happen.
Even if you look at what Steve Jobs said, it was profound. Do you remember ever seeing that letter from him?
I think, and you could quote it, but I think he said something along the lines that he made this, like, he hit the pinnacle of success in every way,
Right,
except for with his family, or something
right.
along those lines.
Like, because him and his daughter were not real close. And, yeah, but it's a real interesting letter when the cancer got him, he was on his deathbed. He was not bragging about how much money he made. It was the mistakes he made and the time he didn't spend and things he didn't do, and because he was focused on the money. That was what was his. And then they cut him short.
Hmm.
You can't buy your health if you lose it. I don't care how many billions you got.
Might be able to stretch you sometime, but not enough, right?
If you got cancer, then I don't care how much money you got. That's what got him was cancer, and he had billions in the bank, but he couldn't save himself.
Yeah, they still haven't found a cure for it, right? So,
But I don't think they're trying to find a cure because it's such a big business.
There's
Everything
too
is
much
about
money
money.
in it.
There's too much money
Yeah.
in it.
there you go, David.
Ain't it amazing? They find cures for everything else, but they haven't found it for that.
Yeah.
They found it for AIDS. They found it for this. They found it for that. But they have never found nothing for cancer. But yet there's billions and trillions of dollars go into cities like Houston, man. It's so big medicine. I mean, there's hospitals everywhere in Houston, man.
Wow.
And I don't know if this is right or not, but it's my real train of thought, where it's like, I don't want to go looking for the problem. Like, even if it's in me right now, I'm not trying to go find it and start this journey to cure it, to go through all this medical attempt, all this stuff. And again, I don't know if this is the right train of thought or not, but it's like, if I don't feel some symptoms or I don't see something happening, then I'm not trying to find it, and because I believe that they're like, this doesn't look good. You're at risk for this. And it's like, they're always going to find a way to sell you to get some type of treatment or some type of health plan or some type of something. And it's like, I always wonder, like, what would have happened if I didn't go in? They didn't tell me all of a sudden I had this thing. Like, what would my path have been? Or not mine personally, because I don't go to the doctors and look for it, but other people I know who were perfectly fine. They didn't have any health issue. And they just went for a checkup. And all of a sudden they're going through this life-changing experience because their doctor told them.
Well, to show you
Yeah.
they make mistakes, though, medicine is really a practice, and you really have to. I mean, it's like doctors are not doing medicine now. They're prescription. The pharmacy companies run the doctors.
Yep.
I was going to a doctor in Red Bluff, and he was my primary doctor. And he kept prescribing me all these pills, man. Next thing you know, I had a whole bag full of pills.
Mhm.
And I go, why do you all the time prescribe me all this medicine? I'm not going to take all this stuff. He says, Phil, that's the only way I can make money.
Damn.
The pharmacy company sends checks to the doctor's office if they write scripts.
You know what? I get that. I'm on these pills every day. 4 of these. You see how big this is?
Yes.
The doctor, the worst part is that I didn't have insurance for the month of January because I was switching from 26 on my parents' or my mom's insurance to my insurance with my job. And there was like a blank space of having no insurance. Normally these pills every month I pay like 30 something bucks. That's fine, whatever. You know how much it was without the insurance? It was
What?
$200. They told me if I don't take these every day, it could get worse, and it could be something that I can later on deal with in a
Yeah, but they don't tell you
in
all
a
the
way.
side effects of taking all
Yep.
the stuff they prescribe to you, too.
That's
So
not even the
it's
only pill I'm
like,
on.
it's,
I'm on 7 different
it's a
pills.
bad deal, man.
Yeah.
It's a bad
That's
deal. Look at the side effects, like these commercials now they advertise.
oh,
Then they
don't
do
even
those
watch
commercials
those.
that it's going to save you. And then at the end, they tell you all the things it could lead to. And you go, excuse me? I'm going to sign up for that deal?
And those things just get worse too. It starts off with like dry mouth, stomach pains, diarrhea, blood,
Diabetes.
and like then you could die. And you're like,
Yeah.
Thanks.
damn.
These are the
Okay. So
complications you might experience. Excuse me?
yeah, I'm like, well, wait a minute. So I'm trying to save my life, but I could also die taking these
But
pills.
it really, have you noticed the holistic medicine doctors that really know their stuff? They all end up getting killed. That ain't no accident.
I don't believe so either.
That ain't
know
no
what?
Let's stop talking about this right now before we're next.
We already called out Elon Musk. If we're shut
Oh,
off
yeah.
next week, guys, if we're shut down
Our
next
DNA.
week, we're
Dr.
right about
It's
something.
probably not DNA anymore. It's
No
NA.
more. Just NA. We gone.
NA, they're gone, man.
Yeah.
They disappeared.
Yeah.
Oh,
But yeah,
it's
man,
crazy
it's
where
all
life is going.
it's all bad, unfortunately, because if you start stepping on some toes, that's what happens. So
Yeah.
we'll try not to step on too many toes. We love you.
Well, yeah, it's about to change. I
Thank you,
think.
Big Pharma.
Yeah.
Thank you for all that.
Well,
But it's
I had
like
a comedian on YouTube,
Yeah.
and he's a black guy, and he said, hello. He's in his truck, and he's driving along. He said, "Hey, white folks, you get rid of all the Mexican people. I understand, and you want to get rid of them, but I still need my fruits and my vegetables. So are you sending white folks going out and pick the vegetables?" He said, "Us black people, we did it for 200 years for free. We ain't picking nothing."
It's your turn.
He had me dying laughing. He said, "We ain't picking nothing. So I need my strawberries. I need my
oranges. I need all that."
I mean, they're some of the greatest workers, man. Greatest people. Boy, and I love to see these farmers that voted for Trump, and now they're talking about their farms. They're trying to get sympathy. I got 4,000 acres in Florida, 4,000 acres in California, and we do flowers and we do this, and the employees are not showing up, and we might lose our crop. And Excuse me. He told you he was going to do it.
Trump's like,
Yeah.
see you later. We'll take that
I
land.
hope they
We'll
all
take
go
that
broke.
space.
That's what I'm praying for. I'm hoping they all go broke. And one dairy farmer, he owns a big dairy farmer in Idaho, and he's talking to this Asian newscaster. And she says, "How many employees do you have?" He says, 500. How many of them are illegals? I would say half. And this is before Trump got in office. So if Trump does what he says he's going to do, and let's say he rounds up half your workforce, how long can your business last? He says, you got to understand with as many cattle as we have, they have to be milked 24 hours a day. So if I lose half my workforce, he said, I probably could last, he said, maybe 4 days. So
Damn.
you voted for Trump. He might take half your workforce out of here, and you're saying you can last 4 days without getting in trouble. She said, do you hear yourself? Oh, but Trump, he said, but Trump won't do it. He told you he would.
That makes no sense. That makes no sense.
And then they're showing these melon farmers that all these melons are going bad because they all didn't show up to work because they're scared they might get deported. And now they did it first in Florida, and now they all left Florida. And now they got the congressman and all of them saying, we need you back, we need you back. And they left. This is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. I mean, they're great workers, they're great people. To take that big of a slice out the pie, man, that's going to hurt.
Yep.
That's a big slice. They're saying 11 million to 12 million people. I hope it stops, man.
There's just a better way. There's a better way than just kicking people out and putting them back at their home. You know,
but the only ones that ain't migrants are the blacks that were brought over here in slave ships. Everybody else is migrants. The whites came over here and took it from the Indians. Because the Indians were the first to inhabit this whole thing.
Yeah, I was gonna say Indians and black. We were taken here, and Indians, from what I know,
they were here. They were here for hundreds and thousands of years before the Americans, the Europeans came over from England.
Just hanging out, smoking the peace pipe, you know, enjoying life, you know. And then we had to come. They just mess it all up. So yeah, it's all bad, man. And it's funny to, like, you know, if you know who somebody is, like Trump, and he tells you he's going to do something, then that something's going to affect you directly, but you still voted for
him. That's stupid. I mean, think about it. The lady looked at him. I mean, she looked dumbfounded. You know, beautiful Oriental lady. She looked at him like, "Do you hear yourself?" She said like that, like with a dumbfounded face. If he comes in here and takes half your workforce, you say you can last 2 days. He says if Trump, he made a prediction. He said if Trump does what he says do, there's going to be a shortage of food. There's going to be a shortage of everything.
Yep.
Yeah.
They said within 3 days, he said you wouldn't see no groceries in the stores.
Nope.
If he pulls this off, if he did it in a year, he says, like this one guy said, you could pay $40 an hour and people ain't gonna do the hard work that these people are doing.
Well, it's not too bad, 40.
Yeah, but we ain't go. I ain't picking nothing. I picked cotton when I was 5 years old in Mississippi. I ain't picking.
You done.
I'm like that comedian. I ain't picking shit.
I ain't picking.
See, that's what he said. He said, we ain't picking. He said, we did it for 200 years for free. We ain't picking nothing. He said, but I need my melons, guys. So Mr. White Man, will you get out there and pick my melons because I need it. Oh, it's crazy, man. I don't know. Yeah, and they're trying to say like they're criminals, and they're not. That's bullshit. It's
they're the ones that avoid
your bad people, whether you're white, black, Mexicans. We all got a certain percentage that are going to be thieves and crooks. Would you agree?
Like you said, David, they're trying to avoid it, right? They're
trying to avoid it so they don't get deported. It's like, why would they be the criminals?
But they pay taxes.
Triggers me.
I mean, they're making a case and they're showing us that this would it could cripple America, man.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's so many the construction sites. I mean, when I was growing up, it was blacks and whites. Now you go to any where they're building homes, roads, whatever. I'd say 50% is Hispanic.
That's a low number.
It's probably 80%.
Yeah,
I'm trying to
when
get the
Yeah.
benefit of
yeah,
the
he's
doubt.
trying
It's
to be
probably
nice.
80, 90%. When I built my house, the guys that worked on my house were all Mexican laborers.
And it was
And
built right.
yeah, they do good work, man. I remodeled my house and I had a guy, and I bet he was illegal, but he knew his stuff.
It was good. Hey, when they
And
just did my house, the guy that came into my house was like, uh, he was Middle Eastern, Israeli. He was he was some, and there was a white guy that came, and a guy from Israel. So like,
Mm-hmm.
none of them were Hispanic that came to my house to like
Mm-hmm.
talk to me about the project. There was a white guy who was looking at my backyard. Everybody that came to quote me was, not Hispanic. Let's just say
Mm-hmm.
that. As soon as I hired them to do the job and get it done, the whole crew was Hispanic. Everybody,
I know.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm
whole
saying.
crew,
I mean, like, this is crazy. I
100%.
mean, it's crazy.
Yeah.
And they were happy. They had lunch. They were chilling it. Like,
Well,
I
they
was
do
good.
good. They do
They
great
live job to
work.
job. Remember that. The other guys, they don't. That's their business. But those guys live job to job. They don't have hourly pay. They don't have all that benefits that some of us do. So they're just happy to work. They're just happy to, do
And
whatever
they
they got to do
work
to survive.
hard, man.
Mm-hmm.
Women are men. They work hard. They do a great job. I mean, they do a phenomenal job. And I don't, I mean, and Trump owning all those businesses. That's what I don't understand. I
Yeah, who
guarantee if
built
you
your
go,
buildings, Trump?
hmm?
Who built Mar-Largo? Who built when? Who
I
built these
bet you
Trump
he's
towers?
he's one of the biggest offenders because he owns these big resorts and everything. Come on, you gonna tell me you don't have Hispanics working there? I ain't buying that bull.
Mm-hmm.
You ain't
Who
selling me
was your
that.
kid's nanny? Who
I
cleaned your house?
guarantee you, I guarantee you 50% of his employees are Hispanics in all his
Yep.
hotels and,
I wouldn't doubt
and
it.
all that stuff he owns.
Yeah, who's fluffing those sheets at night? Who's going? Yeah, his whole staff
I
at the hotels.
guarantee you it is. The hospitality business is a majority are Hispanic.
Mm-hmm.
Am I
Well,
right,
we'll find.
David?
I agree. I mean, yeah,
And he
it's all the
owns
jobs nobody wants.
hotels. Trump owns
Mm-hmm.
hotels, resorts, golf courses. That's why I don't understand his logic, though. That to me, that
Mm-hmm.
don't make sense. When if I'm benefiting from it, why would I put this at the top of my agenda?
It's propaganda.
That's
He's
what
just
I
wanting
can't
the
understand.
votes.
Maybe you guys can explain that to me.
That's what I was going to say too, David.
Mm-hmm.
Propaganda wants that vote.
He wants the vote.
Talks to
He
me,
doesn't care
man.
if he hurts himself. He's gonna get it back anyway. Especially if he does the robot stuff. It's all
Oh, I
coming
didn't
back
even
to him.
think about it. Oh, I didn't even think. Yeah, I think David is on to something. That to
People on
me,
it.
I didn't go to college or nothing like that. But one thing I've always had is common sense. And when I hear something, and I'll live and die with common sense, I will. What you said makes all the sense in the world now. I never thought of it from that angle, what you just said. And
Yep.
now my head is going, wow, I get it now. Think about it. I get rid of all
Yep.
these employees. I bring my robots in.
Show them they
I'm
can do the
charging
job
the
for
government
less.
so much money.
Mm-hmm.
Think about it.
That's
So
it.
They're the
if the
perfect
person
workers.
was making 80 grand doing the job, I'm going to still charge the government 80 grand.
80 grand once.
Yeah, yes, for each robot.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not going to lower our taxes.
Now
Our
it
taxes
makes
pay for that.
David is on. I swear to God, that is the most logical,
Good
smart
job.
thing I've ever heard.
It's the only thing I could think of. Elon Musk is making robots for a reason, and it's not what we want it to be. I always call him the Lex Luthor of our generation. Just like if you know Superman and how Lex Luthor is supposed to be this good billionaire that takes care of the world, but in reality, he's trying to take over the world. You know, I don't know if that's what Elon Musk is doing, but that's what it sounds like to me.
That to me, I swear to God, I've never went down that road that you're talking. That was the first time I ever heard it. But as soon as you said it, it made all the sense in the world.
Yeah.
Brandon, when you heard it, what did you think?
I couldn't deny it. I couldn't say, I couldn't, and I'm common sense. I'm with you. I'm like, you know what?
That makes sense. Now it makes sense why they get rid of all these people. Okay.
Then you got to fill it up with robots. Well, here you go.
Yep.
Government
What else can you do?
We're paying for it on our tax dollar.
Yep. Wow. White man ain't gonna do it.
He ain't good. Are you ready, white man?
They ain't thinking no. Hey, the rich farmer was talking about losing his crop, but he wasn't talking about getting his family out there. They've been in business 90 years. He wasn't talking about picking that stuff.
Yeah.
You gonna let it go bad. And then you make enemies with Mexico, and the majority of our vegetables and fruits come from Mexico.
And
why would you piss them off?
They can't help us fight some fires too. Canadians, Mexicans.
And then you piss off Canada, and they supply all the electricity to most of the red states.
Hey,
and the Prime Minister of Canada has told you, we're going to hit the red states the hardest.
Like we're already in our own little island. I was going to say, we're already in our own little island over here, which already gives us that security and safety that other countries aren't going to have, right? Because at the end of the day, you got to go across a big ocean to get to us, period. Like you just can't get to us easily. You got to do some sneak attack shit if you're trying to. And the last thing you want to do is piss off the only neighbors we do have. Why make enemies with the two neighbors we actually do have, you know?
Yep. That supply, it's a fair exchange. There's a lot of stuff that we sell to them. And then China cut off the American farmers. All these farmers are going to go broke that voted for Trump. I'm going to be the happiest guy in the world. I hope they all go broke. I want to see them all broke, crying. There's one kid on YouTube. Oh, I'm about to lose my farm because they're not giving me my money. And everybody's like, they get these comments, you know, all down.
Yeah, all down.
I didn't vote for Trump. You did. Okay? Yeah. You own the farm. And he told you he was going to cut this out, cut that out. And you hear these rich farmers crying now. It's funny, man.
We're going to put that in the when we explain this episode, Noah, you need to wait till the end of the episode to see what makes Philip the happiest man in the world. What is it?
Why would you vote against yourself? Now, can you get robots to pick fruit and vegetables? Probably.
Yeah. I've already seen videos about it. They do it, but they're not advanced enough to be doing it as fast as a normal worker, especially the Mexican workers, but they're getting to that point, and I think that's what they're shooting for.
So that's what they're shooting for. So if I eliminate all these jobs and all these people, and I replace them with robots, instead of me being worth 400 billion, I'd be worth 2 trillion.
Yep, because you're not paying them yearly. You're only paying the one time. Maybe some, engineering or whatever needs fixing later on. You're going to save billions, millions. Don't get me wrong, but then what are you going to do with the poor people? Where are they going to go? What are they going to eat? What are they going to do?
Well, already got a homeless problem. Can you imagine how bad it can?
Yeah.
be? Yeah. It could be, but then that's when you think about it. Everybody owns guns now. It could be a civil war then. That's what scares me. I hope to leave this earth and not see no war. I don't want to see no war. I don't want to be a part of no war.
I don't want to go to war against freaking robots. Let's Terminator.
Although the movie's dope and iRobot looks cool and all these other ideas of it, I don't want to go to war either. Not against robots, not against people, not against anybody. It's ain't worth it. I pray and I hope that with technology, what will make me the happiest man in the world is that, hey, this technology does make our life easier. They find some way to still make us all happy and wealthy and build homes for the homeless with all these robots and create a more sustainable life that we can all enjoy because the robots are doing all the work and our lives are easier. Now, that would be a very happy ending to the story, which,
You see that being the ending, though, do you?
you
With
know what,
greed
man?
running amok in America. Greed all over the world is running amok.
Yeah,
I
to
see
Greed.
me,
control.
that
I
sounds
see
like
control being.
socialism. I love it, but if you think about it, that's what the socialist society
I
would be.
think I think at the end of the day, whoever, it's all about control. And
Hmm.
Yes.
even if we're like, we already have more freedom than we ever did in history of life, period.
Hmm.
All of us here, like we already have more freedom than we could have ever
Yeah.
had. And that's because we've done things in their system. It's still modern day slavery.
It
Like
really
you still
is.
have
If
that
you really think
control.
about it, the prisons are a slave system. That's all that is.
Hmm.
I'm
Look at how
slaving every day.
thank
Like,
God they have videos now that where you in body cam because you got to think about when I came up in the 60s, no
Hmm.
body cam. My cousin Orlando made a smart remark to a police officer, and they were trying to kill him with billy clubs because they had billy clubs back then. And a white police officer pulled his gun and made the other guy stop beating him, or
yeah,
they would have killed him. Because back then they would find bodies in the parks. Don't know how I got there. I mean, it was. I mean, think about it. We didn't have all this body cam where you could see it was your word against a cop. If
Yep.
now
yeah, you
with a
spoke
body
up, you might be
cam,
next.
mhm,
Damn.
yeah,
Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
it's
Well,
amazing where we're going though. I'm
yeah.
just
Well,
worried.
too funny.
I worked
Hopefully
my
it's for
whole
good.
life for my Social Security. I don't want him to. Now that he's going to look at Social Security, he says he's going to privatize it. You know what that's going to be? That's going to be a joke.
It's gonna hurt us all.
So
But you know
instead of
what?
getting my $3,000 a month, they're probably going to try to cut it to 1,500, or something if they
Hmm.
give you anything. Uh,
And they won't just cut it. They're gonna raise the price of everything else in the meantime too. So you're gonna
Yep.
lose money, and everything's gonna cost you more.
Look at
Yep.
what it cost them, guys. In 1972, I made $3,400. And when I tell the story to my kids, they said, "Dad, that's all you made?" I said, "Let me explain to you how much money that was. Gas was 25 cents a gallon. And they would have gas wars where it got down to 17, 18 cents. Houses that sell in Fremont, California for $1 million, $2 million, $3 million now, 59.9 to 110,000, 120,000. Cars, 39.95, 3,000. My cousin bought he's 3 years older than me. He bought a Z28 Camaro with the Boss 302 stick shift, just a Boss. He's got the receipt still showing when he paid it from F.H.
That's
Bailey
funny.
Chevrolet. $3,828.
Wow.
He said I put 500 down and my payments were $89 a month. He was working in a warehouse making, I think he said he was making $8 an hour, union job. He said, "Phil, I thought I was the richest man in the world." Making 350 a week. I think he said 350, 400 a week.
Damn.
$3,000, man. You had $100 bill in 1972 in your pocket. Dinner for two people at a good restaurant, $15, $14.
Damn. Damn. I'm
You buy a
hungry.
drink at a bar. You know what drinks at the bars were? 75 cents for a well drink. You wanted the real good stuff? $1.25.
Damn. That's a different life. Now you pay for a drink, you pay 50. So you can pay a lot of money for a drink. I paid
I
for a cocktail for $20 just
I
a
put
little.
into Google. I said, if I made $3,400 a month in 1972, what is the present day value? Take a guess. What do you think it is?
Like 300,000.
It's
No,
28,000 a month.
Yeah.
You're right, David. You're right on it. 28,000 a month
Wow.
buying power. Think about
Yeah.
that. I thought I
Different
was a
times.
rich man. I mean, I had never seen that much money, man.
Hey, but even now making 30
That
grand a
stuff was
month.
stupid. Huh?
Even now, if someone makes 30 grand a month, they're making decent money,
Yep.
But it's getting harder and harder to make that kind of money.
It's decent money, but if you look at what stuff costs now, I mean,
Too
you're in
expensive.
California. You guys, what is gas now for premium gas?
I think it's between the $4 and $5 range right now. I don't even know.
Okay, so
I
you're
don't even pay attention to that one.
My kids have been driving, so they've been buying gas lately.
On your card?
On my card, of course.
Yeah. Gas here is about $4.50 a gallon premium.
I'm pretty sure it's like $5 or $6. Yeah, it's getting a little pricey. But I don't even buy premium. I just buy standard.
Yeah, me too. All right, boys. I got to go.
I gotta
We got to
go
call
too.
it a night. But it's
Great
always a
talk.
pleasure speaking with
We'll
you
do it
guys.
again next time.
We'll
See
do
you
it
guys.
again.
Wait, outro.
Yes. Have a great day and an even better tomorrow, everybody. Thank you for
Amen.
watching.
See you guys.
All right.